Good evening. Welcome to Road to EDO 2024. My name is Ego Sagbonlao. I must tell you that today's program promises to be educative, enlightening, and of course, entertaining. We have in the studio today a youth, a representative of the youth, who believes in a brighter future for Edo State. He believes that it is the youth clock. It is the time for the youth to take over the much awaited responsibility of leadership of Edo State. I'm talking about a very reputable employer of labor, a man who has made his mark. And we also understand that he has the meek of human kindness. Paul Ohan Okungbawa, nice to have you on Edo 2024, Road to Edo 2024.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so yes, it is said that 65% of the people in Edo State are youths, and that makes this evening's interview very, very pivotal to a credible election because the youths must take over their prominent position in the state. Okay, my first question is this. Now, you are the youngest from our investigation, the youngest amongst the many aspirants who want to be governor of Edo State. The youngest.
Okay.
Now, how do you intend to cope with these other persons who are older than you?
I don't think, the last time I checked, there is a huge disparity between the wisdom of Solomon as compared to the age of Methuselah.
Okay.
I don't see I don't see old age as an advantage. You know, where they might have more money. They are money bags, older associates who have old monies. Okay. But we are simply in the race to awaken according to your statistics, the bulk of the voters, which are the youths. Well, we just try to make them realize that they are the actual drivers of governance. And so if they are the actual drivers of governance, they should be able to lead themselves and lead themselves properly. I mean, in a same clan, the strength, creativity, and capacity of young persons are actually the economic engine where the elders are being taken care of. But in this part of the world, our elders are still working and taking care of and they are not taking care of the youths. So it's like, and I don't mind, they say it's the devil's workshop. So the level of youth restiveness that we have seen today is, for me, the inability of the old class to exit the podium so that the younger class can bring in their wealth of creativity within the threshold of their youthfulness and timeliness as embedded in the multidimensional strength of what young persons are capable of, both right and wrong. We must let the assertion come in both right and wrong. You know, it's expected that when you hear trouble, you don't think of old man, you think of young people. You know, so when you hear something huge, something gravitating towards massive development, young persons have that capacity more than the elderly. But in this part of the world, our elderly people are still, even in civil service, they refuse to quit the state. That's why there is so much unemployment among the young persons. So we will cope because we know that we are the ones who are hurt by the actions and inactions of our fathers who have refused to obey the clarion call of quitting the stage for their young ones to pursue their God-given potentials.
Okay, so how do you intend to galvanize the innate strength of a youthful population? In Edo State, we have the youths. We also have a divided population of the youths among the aspirants. So, that adage, the youths are the future leaders. You intend to actualize that now by indicating your interest to be the governor, because you already believe that the youths are the leaders, so you want to actualize that. But how do you intend to galvanize a divided population of the youths in Edo State?
Let's not get one thing wrong. If you look at those who seem to have voices on social media or the conventional media, they are the youths that are being inculcated by their fathers. The bulk of the people, the mass majority, don't even know what to do next as it concerns whether or not they are divided or not. They don't feel divided. I don't think that language that there's division between the young people environment is so correct. However, what we have are young people who have been carried along by their fathers, so they will defend their fathers. And then, of course, the corrupt process that we find ourselves have some young persons completely inebriated in it, and they are feeding fat from it.
I'm not looking at youths, going along with maybe their fathers. I'm talking about youths now, divided along party lines. Youths, some youths are with Mr. A, some are with Mr. B, but you are the youngest. So how do you tend to galvanize
the youths you are
yeah.
speaking of are politicians.
Okay.
There are young persons who have become partisan in the political space.
Okay.
There are young persons who are also trying to carve their niche within their political party. And let me tell you the truth. Party sentiment aside, a lot of the youths in the different party divides they're not happy there, because they know that they have been completely subverted and subjugated in that platform. I met a number of them who are close friends and others who tell me they don't allow you breathe. I was supposed to push a mouse and let the youth breathe. Yes. They don't allow them breathe. But because they have chosen to be actively involved in political process, they must be seen speaking for their party. That doesn't mean that it is not the true representation of youthful yearnings and the expectations of what a youth ought to be by now. Okay. So we are still confident that the mass majority of young persons are still waiting for that clock, the youth to clock. They are waiting massively for it. So we are encouraged by that. The feedbacks we get from young people is staggering. And even elderly, there are some good number of the elderly who believe it's a turn of the youths. I mean, we've been trying our fathers since time immemorial. Nothing will hurt us if we try the young person.
Okay. Now, there's one mind-boggling question, and that has to do with the insecurity bedeviling not only the country, but Edo State. Now, if you become governor of Edo State, how do you intend to tackle insecurity?
I didn't wait before getting into this race to know what to do. Some years ago, a very renowned socialite, very popular because of his pedagogical approach to issues on social media space, I'm talking of Dr. Carlos Isibo.
Okay.
He knew I did a design of how to curb insecurity in Edo State. He was among those persons who wanted to fix a meeting between myself and the ex-wife governor of Edo State and the late Alame Sira of Bayelsa State, because my security design needed government implementation. I have captured a long time ago in several write-ups, one of which I discussed with a senator one time, who offered me 10 million naira to buy the idea from me. I have it copywritten already. I've produced some part of it and I've demonstrated it. I could tell you, because I scheduled my appearances and my interlocutory engagement as far as this pre-election know-how goes. There are times where I want to talk about certain topical issues. I'll be talking about ideas, running governance, all this. So I'm going to run through ideas, and I'm going to be talking about ideas in the medical space, in the education space, ideas in the agricultural space, and every other space. Now, for insecurity, let me just take a little dice on top of it, because before we go detail in our subsequent engagement. Do you know that with the existing technology, I mean, some persons have spent billions of dollars digging fiber optics across the Atlantic. So you literally have mobile networks, sharing networks every now and then. So you pick up your phone, it has a network in it. There's no wire connecting it. It just works in the orbit. I created a system some years back where every Android phone can secure their streets and local environment as much as even the rural setting. My design with this Android device is currently being reviewed in a university in London. I sent it back to my tech guys to improve on it. As at last week, I've been told that we can detect crime before it happens now. And I've also been told that we can map out hot zones within the states using the same Android device. And in my description, I did a practical expression of it. If you feel your environment or your streets or your farm is under attack, all you need to do is just press a panic button on your phone, and it will trigger a lot of things which I will get to subsequently. And I did some multi-dimensional aspects of how one application can control several aspects of security, and then put it down to boots on ground. In my design, before the state security network started, I had designed a vigilante network for now, of course, properly kitted and very sophisticated, well-trained, very digitalized in operations, because I also propose tunnels where you can have dashboards of what's happening across every part of the 18 local governments. And I also use helium gas to push a drone. We can have drones suspended in certain parts of the city. They don't have to be suspended. They could land on roofs on certain parts of the city, and these drones can move the moment you tap that button on your phone. There's an auto response. I mean, I used to think it's commonplace knowledge, but of course, you can even use your GPS now to track where somebody possibly is. So we're able to use the phone device to auto-control the drones, and the drones trigger the alarm system. Let's just say when the time is right for me to put out completely the security architecture program that I've designed, you will know that what I was saying is ideas. I've always said ideas are the basic thing that I'm bringing to this campaign or this, pre-election as discussions will go, because I don't have the money to do gatherings and pay people, because we are used to the old political style of give us money, we'll go and form structure for you. But if I can give you an improved version of what you hold in your hands, and I'm able to prove to you that outside deploying existing tech infrastructure to solve insecurity, I mapped out a way where insecurity can generate an average of 1 trillion naira every 12 months if it's properly deployed. So in the course of my discussion, I'm going to put it all out there. I've done patenting in some of the ideas that I have. I've done copyright in some of the ideas that I have. So I'm not afraid to discuss these things. So in the course of my engagement, you're going to be seeing a very robust technological approach to security. And you're going to be seeing boots on ground in a very smart way. And I also did a design where every landlord is involved in the security architecture of the state. And then again, when the federal government at the time proposed the whistleblower system to sanitize theft and all that within civil service and other government parasita, well, it may be seeming like a shocking revelation. Yeah. I suggested that thing on Facebook before it even started operating. And so my suggestions now is that the security votes that state governors take, an average of 750 million a year on the 27th of every month, is already deployed at the governor's disposal to dispense. You can actually put it into very effective security use, such that every single landlord have a price to pick from that 750 million. And I can tell you that they will gladly want to join the security network that I grew. The security network that I put together is one that effortlessly secures. There's no risk in life. We could literally immobilize or track down an assailant or a criminal without firing a gun. It just checked. The world has gone beyond analog. I didn't have to study computer science before I built one of the biggest applications that is bigger than Facebook in 2010. If you go to UDSS, ask for the former principal, Mrs. Oboite, or ask UDSS students of 2011-12, they used my application. I studied microbiology. I just used common sense to put an app together. And since then, I built one for security. And what I built for security, I waited for this time, because although I suggested it, I met with the current state governor when he was chairman of economic thing, to discuss a lot of these ideas, not just to secure, but to generate wealth. Because if I tell you that insecurity can generate 1 trillion naira annually, that already is almost 2 or 3 times the size of the current budget. So it tells you that when I say we can create wealth, all I need to do is just put the ideas out there. And I believe so strongly in my heart that our people for the first time begin to look at the merits of our claims, because we are not coming with any other style. We're just trying to tell them the stone you're about to throw away, somebody else will pick that stone and create an ornament out of it and becomes a decorative device. Do you know, even down to disposable cups, some people now use it to decorate places as against old obsolete idea of discarded ones that we used to drink. So there are modern approach to issues, and it's not whether or not you are a doctor or a lettered professor. It is, do you have the ideas? God doesn't look down on a man before he sends him on an errand. God just looks at the man, he picks the man, he sends him on the errand. I have something to discuss with my generation, and that's why I'm very concerned about those persons that are born in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000 and 2005, because this community of people have a lot to offer. So I feel like if a government that thrives and drives an idea is put in place, it encourages other idealists. The next thing you know is that you have an entire system where there's so much robust ideas, because the person at the center works with idea. And I even propose that if I'm made governor today, one of the first things I shall also do is to create a directorate of common sense. where you can bring your ideas to government, and if your ideas can create wealth and solve problems, you become a shareholder to your idea. So naturally, government employs you. As against work in civil service, government goes into productive ideologies that are of 21st century applications, solves problems, and generate wealth. Even down to agriculture, we want to deploy new strategy for agriculture. When the time comes, we'll discuss that. On education, we can tell you that the robust, of course, I'm from the education background, the robust package that we have on education will wow you. So this is me telling you that ideas can run government smartly. And I always say that a smart EDO is possible. When a state runs smart, Autobots, it becomes literally like Autobot. Like, for example, you can simplify the cumbersome running of government by running a digital government, an e-government. You can digitalize your operations of government. When you digitalize your operations of government, one of the things that happen is that it's like you set a trap. You too could get caught. Because when you digitalize the operations of government, it's easier to nip fraud and to nip looting, mismanagement of the post-Commonwealth while in government space.
Okay, thank you, Paul Owoka. He has just exhibited his knowledge publicly, and that he has a lot to offer because the power of technology cannot be overemphasized. The developed world have enjoyed from technology, and it is believed that Nigeria is in the doldrums because of the absence of technology. But he believes that it's possible that the blacks who are in Edo State do have technology as well. And given the opportunity, he intends to unveil. That's what he has just told us. But there's another problem of insecurity, and that's food insecurity.
Good.
So many persons are hungry.
Okay.
How do you intend to fix this?
Now, first of all, some time ago I wrote a thesis that between farm to marketplace, Nigeria loses an average between 300 billion annually to wastage, because the cost of the cumbersome transportation, the roads are bad, and all of that. But one of the things that have actually accentuated food insecurity in this part of Nigeria, especially in Edo State, is the insecurity itself. I mean, it is public knowledge that even down to Odigwetwe in Avia Northeast here, that herdsmen have taken over local farms. I mean, we hear on your TV and radio programs farmers being killed in their farms. So naturally, those who will be in the business of farming and producing food that will come to the urban cities are afraid to go to the farm. So the next thing you get is food shortage, occasioned by insecurity. Now, in our design, the first thing we worked on was the only way we can create wealth with agriculture is to secure the sites. Let me use the word. So we have a very functional architectural design on rural security. And it still revolves around both boots on ground, but majorly, sir, technology. Technology majorly. Now you may ask yourself, how are the rural farmers going to deploy technology? It's not rocket science. Even with your analog phone, I mean the polyphonic phones that are not Android, you could send codes. There could be a trigger. And very importantly, I think we can run more like a surveillance drone. It's practicable. Drones are currently even used in wedding ceremonies. Yeah. And as the chief security officer of the state, you have the right to accentuate drone patrol. You can actually deploy drone patrol. I designed a drone without studying that particular course. And I was able to use a dead phone and use the camera system. And it was watching our environment and our street. So I feel like part of what I've been saying before now is ideas subsisting in simplifying what governance should be, or a direct policy of governance that affects your life as a person. I mean, how long do we live these days on earth that one will just come to earth, suffer and die and just get out of earth like that? Yeah. Do you know the agony the man who was butchered in his farm faced while he was being butchered? Because the truth is this, if there was some sort of security architecture or infrastructure that sort of gives him some level of, hope, I'm sure he possibly wouldn't have died. So it is in the health sector. Do you know how painful it is when you are this close to death and you know that it was government that failed you? I lost my father to medical malpractice. He didn't die an old man. He died a young man. He died in his 60s. We rushed him to hospital. First thing first, doctors were on strike. I had a meeting with some members of the NMA recently, and I asked them, why do you guys always go on strike? And I told them, we can fix this strike there, and I proved it to them. I lost my father to such. And I feel like those persons who are near death, there's just so much anguish at that material time, knowing that it was little things that failed you. Do you know how painful it is, God forbid, that you are rushing your beloved mother to hospital, and then she's held in traffic and died in traffic? Do you know how painful it is that you eventually perhaps rush that beloved brother or sister to the hospital, and then they said doctors are not on duty or there's no oxygen. They have to quickly run to go and put on the generator. I just feel we're treating our lives like as though we're animals. That's why I said the typical politicians have been playing with our lives. To them, it's a game. It's supposed to be a call to serve. You're supposed to be afraid of what could go wrong if you are governor of a state. I told a politician one time, I said, you will likely go to hell. And he was like, why do I just condemn him as though he's his creator? I said, look at it. When you were local government chairman, there were some appropriated funds for you to fix the primary health care center and kit it up. But no, it went down your throat. And when somebody needed medical emergency, the person died. How can you say you're not a murderer? So it's same with governors. When you keep masturbating the people's wealth, except you do not believe in divinity like I do, except you don't believe in the concept of hell and heaven like I do, I believe that whatever I do on earth here, I'm going to pay for it. So I'm naturally even afraid of the job because it comes with circumspect. But I find that most of this old wealthy class, they become conscienceless. They become very tough. They become very, how do I put it? Their heart is in their mouth. They don't care.
Okay.
You know, when you deal with crime, you're no longer surprised when somebody falls down and dies. These guys are operating without conscience, and I think we can bring a lot of empathy to government as well.
Okay. I think our viewers there, and of course the voters, have enjoyed Paul Owokan Okungbowa. He's been able to articulate his ideas, but he has just told us that he has a lot of ideas that he intends to actually ventilate in the course of our series, Road to EDO 2024. But before we let him go, we need to also allow him to talk about the infrastructural decay in Edo State. There are some roads that are in very bad state. Now we have the new city. We have the so-called communities that have become part of Benin, and they don't have tarred roads. How do you intend to tackle this infrastructural
let me
deficit?
jump on that.
Yes.
You see, when you say there's no money, I understand. I understand that sometimes the budget itself cannot be able to carry the expected solutions to the vast problems that have encumbered government just now. But I also know that it's because you do not have you don't have the capacity to use what's available to fix what is needed. Now, if you have, for example, like I spoke with the Oba Benin one time, the proof of how we can use agriculture alone to create wealth, and let's say on insecurity, let's assume here that we're able to generate $1 trillion outside IGRO and federal location. Do you know you can simply triangulate the 3 senatorial districts of Edo State with railways? Do you know that some persons who love the cool of the urban, the rural setting can live in the villages while they work in the cities? You see, when we say there's no money, do you know we can have cable buses? Do you know that what it will take to have cable bus, maybe just run Saplero to Ibubahi because the cooler traffic that runs that particular place? Or perhaps, let's assume we don't want to commercialize bus cable. Do you know you can have 1 or 2 bus cable that runs this length, just ambulance in case of emergency, so people don't die in hold-ups and all of that? When the wealth is available, sir, you will tar literally every road because the wealth is available and you are deploying it appropriately. You are not skimming it out of the people's common patrimony. You are not stealing it. You will deploy it. If push comes to shove, by God's grace, I tell people, you could say my generation is good at fraud. That's what their fathers have pushed them to. But I can also prove, and I'm willing and ready. First thing I did is my BVN is with EFCC. I will not have wealth that doesn't belong to me. I don't know how to even carry around security operatives and become their party to. No. If I'm guilty of anything, have me arrested. We can prove one thing, sir, that what we declared before we got to government when you see what we're declaring we're leaving government, you know that we'll be sincere with the post-Commonwealth. Because I always say, you don't have to steal from the common purse of the people to have wealth as the leader of the people. If I get into a government house, I will live there a wealthy man. Not because I stole from the people, but because we built together. Mind you, I said Wednesday when I was here, that the first thing I shall do is to grant local government financial autonomy. Meaning I'm not interested in the monies that come from federal government or the IGRO generated. Let those monies go to local government. Let us see an active, real functional local government so the people be happy. But I'm saying, just sit down as a governor and create wealth to us available. These are the things that we want to bring to the fold.
Thank you, Owoha Okungbowa. We've enjoyed talking with you, and I believe that the voters, they've been given the opportunity to also assess you. And you've been able to, like I said earlier, articulate your ideas. You've told us that there are so many ideas in the offing.
Oh, yes.
So we intend to give you that opportunity, that platform. And of course, all other aspirants who are interested to take advantage and ventilate their ideas. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you for
being a
me.
part of this edition of the program. On behalf of the producers, including Thomas Ado, thanks for being a part of the show. My name is Ego Sagbonlao. Bye-bye.